What's good, YouTube? My name is Coaster Nostra, back at you guys with another sneaker video. Guys, if you rock with me at all, you know I go hard on the Kyrie signature line, but in terms of the adult drops for men, not including, I want to say, the 3 or 4, however many grade school only colorways that have dropped, we've had 15 general releases of Nike Kyrie 5's, fam. I figured I picked them all up, got them all in hand except for that Friends colorway that drops tomorrow. So to commemorate the drop of the 15th colorway, fam, let's go ahead and rank these 1 through 15 and let's talk about it a little bit, guys. Let's get into it. Alright guys, at number 15, something a little bit different from Jump, the Nike Air Zoom Vapor X Kyrie 5. This sneaker itself was actually crossed with a tennis sneaker, and it actually resulted in something very, very different from the rest of the Kyrie line. Colorway wise, to me, they're just really bland, really boring. You got a primarily all white shoe. You've got hits of that sort of infrared pinkish kind of color. The outsole on this sneaker is a little bit different. The lacing pattern on this sneaker is a little bit different. The tongue is a little bit different. This sneaker itself I wore once for the review, and then I've worn them once casually, and they crease really, really bad in that toe box. The shape of the shoe itself, I personally wear a size 11. The shape of the shoe itself really lends to make the shoe look like it has a gigantic toe box, which again has already started to crease from just that one wear. All in all, something pretty cool to have in the collection, something very different from all these Kyrie 5s that have dropped, but again, to me, just sort of a boring colorway. At number 15, the Nike Air Zoom Vapor X Kyrie 5. At number 14, guys, the Nike Kyrie 5 Third Eye Vision. Some people have called these the multicolor. Multicolor shows up on a lot of these Kyrie 5 boxes, but this one definitely embodies multicolor the most. That shroud has this sort of galaxy blend of colors. There's a bit of an iridescent sort of sheen to that shroud as well. I think it's really just the material that it's made of, but they did a pretty dope job of blending green, purple, blue, pink, red, and the sort of galaxy white speckling on that as well. You've got a navy upper, and one thing I will say before we continue with this countdown, a lot of primarily white or black, or a decent amount of these sort of navy uppered Kyries. Not a lot going on with the uppers. They really let the shroud of the sneaker and the outsole of the sneaker really kind of carry some of these colorways, as you'll see as we get further down into this countdown. At number 13, guys, the bread colorway of the Kyrie 5s. One thing that sort of throws me is this gray outsole and midsole. To me, I think it would have looked a little bit doper maybe if it was even white, but I think overall that gray sort of detracts a little bit from the colorway. The colorway itself is actually plain enough that some people were dropping these joints online early, and I saw a lot of early reviews on these things months before I was able to get my hands on these. I actually still haven't dropped my review on these. A pretty dope colorway, but one of the more plain, sort of uninspired colorways of the Nike Kyrie 5 that has dropped thus far. At number 13, the Nike Kyrie 5, the bread colorway. Alright guys, on to number 12, the Nike Kyrie 5 Black Magic colorway. In some places, such as here, this was actually the first colorway to hit store shelves. The Cats were actually scheduled to be the first colorway. That didn't happen around here. It seemed like more towards the West Coast, they hit a lot of those release dates on time. Out here towards the East Coast, this was the first colorway to actually hit shelves. I was definitely excited to pick these up. Again, sort of like that bread colorway, a fairly plain colorway of the sneaker. I sort of like these a little bit more because, as I touched on, that gray kind of throws me off on the bread. This is just a simple black and white sneaker. Of course, as you can see, I sort of swapped the laces on these. I hit DMG Laces, who always has dope lace options. So guys, if you want to spice up any of these sneakers, the breads included, hit up dmglaces.com, check out their multitude of lace options, which includes rope laces, flat laces. They've definitely got something to spice up a sneaker for you if you guys made the mistake of going out and picking up something that just doesn't pop as much as you thought it would, or they dropped another colorway down the line. It's sort of a cheaper way to make your sneaker a little bit more unique, make it pop a little bit more, and that's definitely what I did with this colorway. The outsole on these, as a lot of the outsoles on these Kyrie 5s have featured sort of multicolors, it's just a matter of what colors they sort of went with on the outsole itself. When I see this colorway, it sort of reminds me of the Cookies and Cream, almost like an inverse of that Cookies and Cream colorway which dropped, which is a little further down on our list, so stay tuned for that. All in all, a dope pickup because this was the first Kyrie 5 to drop, but something going forward, maybe not as memorable. An easy sneaker to pair with stuff or wear on court, the Nike Kyrie 5 in the Black Magic colorway, guys. At number 11, guys, the Nike Kyrie 5 Duke PE, okay? I actually live in North Carolina. I'm right in that triangle area, so I'm surrounded by NC State, which maybe some of you guys don't know as much about, the lesser known of the three. Then of course we got UNC and Duke, which are just a stone's throw away from one another, from here, from my backyard. So if you're a Duke fan and you live around here, this was definitely a dope pickup. I would say without the Duke logos on this sneaker, the colorway itself would be really, really dope, man. You've just got this sort of blend of blue flames, which dominates the upper. Pretty cool. I like what they did. It's one of the few Kyrie 5s that they actually did anything with the upper. This is one of the few sneakers that has something going on it. I'm personally not a Duke fan. I don't hate on them as much as I hate on UNC, but it's hard, you know, just being a sneakerhead and loving Michael Jordan the way I do. It's sort of a weird bittersweet feeling, but these still almost made it into the top 10. At number 11, guys, the Nike Kyrie 5 Duke PE, or some people refer to them as the Brotherhood colorway. All right, fam, on to number 10, the Nike Kyrie 5 in the Chinese New Year colorway. These things are dope, man. I really like this colorway. Very unique. When I first saw pictures of these surfacing on Instagram and things like that, I remember a lot of people saying they thought these things were going to be fake. And the funny thing is, I actually have seen fake pairs of these. One way to determine if you actually are dealing with a fake, if you look back on the booty of the sneaker, on the fakes, the pattern is actually identical from sneaker to sneaker. It's one of those colorways that the upper is all black, even the swoosh, you know, so the swoosh itself doesn't really actually stand out from the rest of the upper. I mean, it's got a little gloss to it. It's really not going to pop that much, but definitely a unique shoe and able to crack the top 10, the Nike Kyrie 5 Chinese New Year pair. As we roll on to number 9, the Nike Kyrie 5 Rocket colorway, or the All-Star colorway. The most unique thing about this colorway to me, having all these Kyrie 5s in hand, is that the upper is not this sort of mesh synthetic type material. You've actually got this sort of like synthetic almost upper to the actual sneaker itself, especially on that toe cap. It really, really looks different than all these other sneakers. It's actually the first sneaker out of the whole lineup to feature sort of a translucent shroud, and the first sneaker to feature 2 lace options, even though one of them is that plain white lace. I don't know why they would hit you with an extra lace option that's just a plain white lace. All in all, I think this is a dope colorway, especially on feet. These things look really good on feet. At number 9, guys, the All-Star colorway, the collab with Rocket, the Nike Kyrie 5 Rocket pair. All right, guys, at number 8, the Nike Kyrie 5, the cookies and cream colorway, the Oreo colorway, whatever you want to call these things. These are really dope, man. Almost an inverse of that Black Magic colorway, which was of course the first colorway to drop for the Kyrie 5s, especially GR wise, you know, that was widely available. This sneaker is almost an inverse of that sneaker. Not quite, because the shroud on both sneakers is going to be black, so not exactly an inverse, but to me this sneaker pops a whole heck of a lot more. It's a lot doper. When you really look at the detailing on this sneaker, I think it just goes a lot harder. When you look at the shroud itself, it's almost like there's metallic flaking built into the shroud. You've got that marbled outsole. The midsole features white speckling on it. As you turn to that all-seeing eye on the booty portion, that sort of metallic speckling that you see on the shroud once again pops up back there. All in all, there's a lot of pop to this shoe, especially for a plain black and white sneaker. Almost reminds me of sort of a Kobe Beethoven type vibe. Not quite that dope in my opinion, but definitely dope. Over time, I feel like this sneaker, this colorway will be more and more appreciated, especially as people dirty up their pairs, because again, we've got a Kyrie 5 that is dominated by a white upper, but I think the color combinations, the way they threw the white and the black on this sneaker, they just did a really good job. Guys, at number 8, the Nike Kyrie 5 Cookies and Cream colorway. At number 7, guys, another white dominated upper, the Nike Kyrie 5 in the Black History Month colorway. I think this shoe is really, really dope. They've hit you with textures on the shroud. You've got sort of this unique kind of African stitching pattern that dominates that back heel booty portion. It definitely shows up in slightly different coloring on the tongue. You've got sort of what I called like a tropical Skittle color theme to that outsole. To me, this sneaker does a really good job to sort of embody an everyday sneaker while also having enough loud in this sneaker to really just make it unique and something that you'd want to pick up and add to the collection. At number 7, guys, the BHM colorway of the Nike Kyrie 5s. Number 6, fam, to me, this colorway is just 80s dominated with these highlighter colors. This colorway to me is one of those colorways that a lot of other people are gonna like a lot more. My review for this colorway did really well in terms of reviews on my channel, you know, relative to my other videos and stuff like that. This colorway I think did really, really well with some of the younger crowd. Just the highlighter colors and that hot pink really, I think it really appeals to the younger generation a lot more. And these things definitely sold well in grade school sizes and pretty well in men's sizes. sizes as well. I know my local Foot Locker definitely sold out of these joints relatively quickly compared to some of these other colorways. One sneaker on the lateral portion features just, while the right sneaker features do it. You do have this sort of what I felt was almost like a off-white kind of vibe tag going on right here. Pretty dope colorway. At number 6, guys, very, very close. Couldn't crack the top 5. The Nike Kyrie 5 Just Do It colorway. All right, fam, we're at number 5. Things are getting really serious. The only colorway I don't have in my hands quite yet, because they're dropping probably today, the day I release this video, maybe the day before I release this video. They will be in hands. They're just not yet as I'm making this video. The Nike Kyrie 5 Friends colorway. One thing I will say about Kyrie is he's definitely a character, man. You know, from his beliefs to some of his tattoos, to some of the things that he will readily admit to growing up on, such as the TV show Friends, which is not, you know, necessarily something that you would attribute to a basketball player like Kyrie. It was definitely something to me that kind of threw me off a little bit. I feel like Friends is one of the whitest sitcoms that has been on TV, at least in like the 90s era or whatever. I definitely liked it when I was younger. I think I had a crush on Rachel when I was just a little guy, man. But that was a long time ago, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I was in Kyrie's position that I would have gotten the tattoo on my arm or, you know, admitted to being such a huge fan of it. It's sort of funny to me. Be comfortable in your own skin, man. That's really all that speaks to me. The colorway itself is pretty dope. The one thing I really like about the colorway is it does feature that sort of different colored rope lace, which is something that I've been doing a lot with a lot of these Kyries, especially the 4s, when a lot of my videos that I was dropping were on time. I haven't been as good with that here lately just because of job transitions, picking up the second job, my computer dying. It's been one thing after another, honestly. I think that lace is dope. It's kind of a dope sign of things to come potentially for some of these colorways of the Kyrie 5s or maybe the 6s in the future. To me, it sort of reminds me of some of the older Kobe's when you'd see a lot of laces like that kind of consistently, you know, a lot of two-toned laces and stuff. Without the actual Friends logo on the sneaker and on the insole, I would have never looked at that colorway and told you this is a Friends inspired colorway. It's very, very basic what they hit you with, but all in all, the color blocking of the sneaker, you know, again, a predominantly black colored sneaker. That fly wire does hit you with those primary colors, you know, the red, the blue, the yellow. They pop pretty hard. Definitely one of the standout features of that sneaker. I definitely look forward to getting my hands on those tomorrow. At number 5, guys, the Nike Kyrie 5, the Friends collab colorway. At number 4, guys, the Mamba Mentality colorway. If you know anything about me at all, I'm a huge fan of Kobe Bryant, especially his sneakers. I really dug his sneakers. I grew up skateboarding, so low profile sneakers was a lot more of what I was wearing, especially when I was younger. It wasn't until like sneakers like DC started pushing the envelope and started going with sort of like mid tops or high top type sneakers, and you saw a lot of rebellion from some of the older skaters, which is kind of funny because as that was happening with skaters, sort of the opposite was happening with basketball players and Kobe Bryant as his sneaker line was sort of transitioning into lows. So it was sort of a natural place for me to kind of start with basketball shoes and get into them. For whatever reason, those silhouettes and colorways of those silhouettes piqued my interest a lot more. So when I started collecting and getting my hands on some of these things, a lot of it was some of these unique Kobe Bryant colored sneakers. So whenever they do a throwback to an old sneaker colorway, whether it's a Kobe sneaker or not, to me, it always kind of tugs at my heartstrings a little bit, and it works for me. You know, the nostalgia gets me, and when it is something like a Kobe, it gets me even more, especially when it's something that I do actually have in my collection. These I think are dope, man. They really, really executed these well. While the color blocking is different, as they tend to do with these Mamba Mentality sneakers, the colors that they chose and a lot of the themes and the placements and stuff are very, very similar. That back heel portion is definitely reminiscent of the Kobe 5. That signature on the booty, of course, definitely embodies the Kobe 5. I really, really like how they sort of hit you with the half shield, half Kyrie logo, the actual material on the shroud and the color of the shroud itself, the sheen to it, super dope, man. I feel like this is something that in the future I'm gonna dig this colorway more and more and more. The Nike Kyrie 5 Mamba Mentality colorway coming in, guys, at number 4. All right, guys, on to number 3. We're down to the meat of this video, the Nike Kyrie 5 in the UFO colorway. To me, the outsole on these really kind of embodies what they were doing with the Kyrie 4 and how every single Kyrie 4 that they hit you with the exception of maybe the first 2 or 3 that were sort of neutral colors, just kind of bring everybody into the fold or appeal to everybody. The outsole on all the Kyrie 4s were just insane, man. They were constantly pushing the envelope. The outsole was actually a part of the colorway itself. It was one of the drawing features of the colorway itself, and to me, This sneaker has that. This Kyrie 5 has that. If you look at a lot of Kyrie's PEs that he's rocked over the course of the season, the outsoles have been just as insane as this sneaker. Honestly, it's kind of let me down with some of these GRs that have actually released to the public. They've been a little bit more neutral, a little bit more boring. We haven't seen stuff like this, where you've got sort of this almost marbled space kind of smoky look, where it's a blend of what the box called currant blue and this sort of lime green with hits of white throughout the sneaker. Really, really dope, really, really unique. You got just this tiny little placement of orange on the sneaker. It almost actually makes me want to go out and get some orange laces for these and lace swap these and see how well that works. You do have the little UFO on the shroud itself, which gets the colorway its name. I had somebody in my review video make a comment about Rick and Morty, and to me it was a no-brainer, man. I couldn't believe I didn't think of that myself. Shouts out to you for that. This sneaker itself just screams Rick and Morty. The colors that they used, pattern to the color, especially on that tongue, man. Definitely gonna have to find some Rick and Morty socks to go with these joints. So shouts out to the hopeful subscriber who mentioned that. This colorway is dope, man. From the little star speckling on the sneaker itself, again, something that we've seen in another one of the colorways. These to me just go infinitely harder. At number 3, guys, the UFO colorway of the Nike Kyrie 5s. All right, fam, let's roll on to number 2, the Nike Kyrie 5 in the Taco colorway. This, of course, was a collab with DJ Taco. This pair was somewhat hard to get your hands on. They definitely did not drop everywhere. You've got that oversized 3M swoosh which stretches all the way from the lateral portion to the medial portion of the sneaker. That forest camo, which is hit or miss with people. To me, I dug it. It was unique enough. I don't have any forest camo sneakers in my collection, and these go hard, man. To me, when I think about this shoe, my mind doesn't go right to the forest camo. It's more the collab of the sneaker and the fact that this was one of the first colorways of this sneaker to drop. I was super excited to get my hands on these. You've got that unique insole, of course. I lace swap these, and I definitely think that lace swap goes hard on these. A hit or miss colorway. To me, these were a banger. At number 2, the Nike Kyrie 5 Taco collab. All right, guys, on to number 1. If you know your Kyrie 5s and you've been marking them off the list, you probably know what's coming next. A lot of you probably knew what was coming at number 1 from jump. To me, this colorway is just so unique and so dope. It was the clear-cut no-brainer for number 1. I feel like while if a lot of you made your own lists, whether they were top 10, top 5, top 3, top 15, I feel like a lot of you are gonna have this sneaker right up there at number 1. I could be wrong, but I just feel like these sneakers go hard, man. The concept collab with the Nike Kyrie 5, which has been dubbed the Iket colorway, these things to me are super dope, super unique. You've got sort of this sand-colored upper, which is supposed to represent Egypt. The whole colorway itself is supposed to sort of be a shout-out and a representation of ancient Egypt, and I think it's really, really dope, man. Very, very unique. From the sand-colored upper to the red tongue to the sort of hologram-colored insignia on one tongue which says concepts, the other tongue says, of course, the Kyrie logo. You've got that very, very famous all-seeing eye back there on the heel portion, very reminiscent of a hieroglyphic. If you look at the other shoe, again, you have another hieroglyphic. All in all, I think this sneaker just goes hard, man. They did a really good job. That iridescent purple outsole is super tough to me. It was supposed to represent sort of the colors that you would see as the sun was setting over the Great Pyramid of Egypt, where this colorway gets its name. That pyramid was actually referred to as a Ket. I think these are super dope, from the concept to the execution to the colorway. All in all, man, these things hit on all levels for me. At number 1, guys, the no-brainer, the easy pick, I feel like for everybody. Having said that, I watched one countdown and these things were not at number 1, which definitely took me by surprise. What do you guys think about my top 15? Hit me down below. Let me know you guys got a top 3, got a top 5. Let me know down below, what do you guys think about these Kyrie 5s? I know there's a few dope colorways on the horizon that I'm definitely looking forward to that have a Nike Day colorway. Once it's all said and done, guys, I'll count them all down once again, as I sort of did with the Kyrie 4s. I dropped that video a little bit early. But guys, stay tuned for that. Appreciate you guys rocking my video. Smash that thumbs up or down button for me, guys. Sub to the channel if y'all haven't yet. I am Coaster Nostra fam. Stay blessed, guys. Peace.